The important thing about this case,
Yes.
this file is one of the reasons why it is considered a major classic in Spanish UFO phenomenon and ufology.
Yes.
It's a file of 116 to 120 pages written by the Spanish Air Force.
And it's declassified.
For a while. In this file we can see, for example, the image of those humanoid figures, right? We can see them inside the sphere here.
Yes.
It was classified information, which is the highest level of confidentiality in the Spanish Army.
It was like that for many years. In 1992, they wanted to declassify it.
I believe he had no interest in being contacted. He had no interest in anything happening to him. However, he finds himself in that situation, and the reaction he later receives from the authorities results in a complete lack of any possible expression about it, right?
They encountered that sphere of about 30 meters in diameter, according to the declassified documents from the Air Force. 30 meters in diameter, but it has a series of peculiarities that make it interesting, right? Firstly, it was an electric blue color, as if the material were some kind of plasma. Why? Because it wasn't blue. They claimed to be able to see the stars of the night through it.
Through the sphere.
Through it. There was something inside the sphere. I mean, everything inside the sphere had a sort of floor. Let's call it a platform, with a kind of, let's call them consoles. 3 of them. To our understanding, let's say,
Like some sort of controllers.
controllers or computers. But among them, there were 2 structures, biological entities in human form, humanoid, not exactly our proportions. Their hands were elongated with no discernible fingers. They were triangular, and the facial features were not visible. They were facing each other and remained inactive. Then one of them detached itself, with calmness, and walked down to the slope to pass by Piso Frio, an area where people spent a lot of time, especially in the early evening hours of summer, enjoying the cool air.
I see.
People were at the doors of the houses.
So there were many witnesses.
Before, or even at that moment, a series of very spectacular light phenomena were observed at various points in the Canary Islands. The crew of a Spanish Navy corvette, La Atrevida, witnessed this phenomenon and described it in a rather strange way, making it difficult to identify it as a missile or missiles, right? They mentioned that at a certain point the light source split into 2 and went in different directions.
The news was so huge that they even made it to international media. As expected, that was repeated throughout a year, during which there were more than 40 sightings of strange lights and anthropomorphic figures in the skies of the Canary Islands. We leave Gran Canaria behind and return to Tenerife after a truly intense day. The truth is, I've been pondering a question for the last few hours. Why did no one associate what Dr. Padron experienced with an incident involving 3 young people on La Tejita beach in Tenerife? These young people received a strange message that summoned them to this location. And you know what's most interesting? They went to the meeting. Jose, who was Paco Padron?
Paco Padron is an extremely important figure in the world of broadcasting in the Canary Islands. That's the lesser-known side of a character who became crucial in the world of mystery.
He and other colleagues were summoned right here through something we'll discuss later. They were summoned by extraterrestrials on a specific day and at this specific location.
This is a truly captivating story because it's a living mystery in the Canary Islands and on a national level. They were summoned to a place they didn't know had a previous history of being enchanted, a magical place with some very ancient stories. And they go through an experience that becomes a classic in encounters reports, even abductions, at a time in Spain when there was practically no talk of encounters of this kind, especially not of direct contact with the occupants of the ships.
We can say that one way or another, they, whatever they may be, turned up for the appointment.
Indeed, as you said, we don't know who they are, but they showed up on the day, at the location, and at the scheduled time.
During that time, the Ouija board was just another tool of investigation, much like a camera could be. Through the board, contacts of all kinds were made, even with beings claiming to come from other planets. That's why our protagonists didn't hesitate to follow the instructions that something or someone was giving them. After all, it was a scheduled meeting. So how long has it been since you last came here?
Oh, since the day of?
So we're talking about 45 years. What happened that night is considered a classic in the history of ufology in Spain because the sighting was spectacular. So much so that for years, this beach became a meeting point for those who wished to encounter them again. And more sightings occurred. But the main characters of that first night were 3 friends whose lives would change forever. Suso Santos was one of them. He has never talked about it until today. Night has fallen on La Tejita Beach, and today, on the 40th anniversary of that experience, we find him in the same place where it all happened. I imagine this has nothing to do with...
Not at all. This is now a 100% tourist beach. Back then, coming here was an adventure. This is a place, apart from the fact that the beach is large, this is a secluded place. To get to El Medano, you had to go via a paved road. You had to climb up that entire mountain, the Red Mountain as we called it, through a hellish dirt road to get here. And of course it was
difficult, right?
Yeah, it wasn't easy, especially at night.
You guys didn't want to make contact. You simply wanted to investigate.
Investigate, because what was there? And then one day we placed our fingers on the glass and bam! OPAT came out. OPAT 35. It was like a computer because right from the start it seemed more like a machine than a character, and with the name it gave us it seemed more like something technical, right? OPAT 35. And suddenly we stumbled upon the UFO topic. That creature claimed to be called that. Apart from that, we, being curious, wanted to see, observe, and develop further, so there you go. We got an appointment. So we arrived here, and we were about 10 minutes late for the appointment. And we found out about the delay because as we were descending the mountain, we saw this huge thing we thought was a ship.
Right here, just right here.
Here, right here, yes. Do you see that light over there from the sailboat that's there?
Yes.
Well, right there, but it was huge, right? We had the board with us because it was the way we had to communicate.
So you brought the Ouija board?
Of course, because we had several. The rudimentary one was just a marine plate with letters stuck on and the glass, but the glass was always a special glass.
And you started doing the Ouija here?
Yes, but inside the car.
Inside the car?
Yes, we went down the trail that led there. I was at the back, Paco, Emilio, and the board here, and that was sitting there. We thought the experience was over again because there was a ship there. And there we started. Come on, the board was here on my lap because I'm sitting at the back. They were looking back. Our fingers were bam bam, and it started, tap tap, and the first thing it said, you arrived 10 minutes late. And where were you? And the glass was moving. I watched it. I had the board on my lap, right? Boom, it fell to the car floor. Again, where are you? Came out of the board.
So it was like it was pointing towards the light.
There, to the light. Not to the light, to the thing.
So then?
It wasn't a light, it was a huge bug that was there. Oh, you're the ones who were there. And the glass went, yes, yes, yes. Always to and from the center, yes, no, and then the letters, right? Every time it touched yes, we asked, can you give us a sign? I remember the glass touched yes, and just touching the yes in the center of the device that was there, which had like 2 lights. In the center of those 2 lights, another one even bigger than those 2, let's say, lit up in the center, and it was huge. The glass stayed in the center, and that thing was on. You can turn it off, and the glass touches yes again.
And it turned off.
It turns off. Well, can you turn it on again? The glass goes and touches the yes. Automatically again.
It turns on.
Yeah, then it goes back to center. Can you turn it off? The sequence was always the same, and it turns off. 3rd time, the spotlight comes out where that central light came out. It comes out and lights up right there on the Red Mountain, and it's set on the car.
It reached your position.
Yes, it lit us up. The board was no longer working, and the glass started to act up, spinning around, not bam bam. I looked to the front, right? I looked down because they were turned towards me. I always had the thing in front of me, right? As I lower my head to see what the glass was saying, it says nothing. I raised my head, and there was nothing there anymore. It